Howdy, Space Rangers, Captain Phoenix here. Kid Cosmic is pretty great, and I'm here to tell you why. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we obviously start, these are spoilers. Obviously, I don't think it's gonna be too much. I know the show came out like 3 weeks ago, so yeah, spoilers. For those who haven't seen it. Also, this video isn't mine. None of the footage here is mine. This belongs to Nerdwire. I will definitely leave the link in the description. All that happy stuff. Let's continue. Kid Cosmic is a show made by Craig McCracken. He's probably not a guy you know very well, mostly because he's a smaller name in the media industry, but he's a guy who's made quite a few shows from your childhood, especially. He's the guy who made Powerpuff Girls, Blues Home for Imaginary Friends, and Wander Over Yonder. I've seen at least two of those shows. I haven't seen Wander Over Yonder, and so yeah, and I didn't even know he made this show until after I watched the show. So that's crazy. Anyway, this show is about a kid who gains superpowers through these stones from outer space, Infinity War style. So these stones came from outer space, and this guy called Kid picks them up, and he wields the stones. He wields the power of the stones. Obviously, as the series goes along, he gets his friends and family to join in on his adventures, as he wants to be a hero and save the Earth from alien invaders. So that's sort of his big dream. He wants to be a hero. And throughout the series, we see how his journey goes, the hero's journey throughout the series. So there's quite a lot of stuff to say here. Obviously, I don't want to mention everything because again, the show is relatively new, and I think you should go watch it. So I won't spoil everything. So I'm just gonna give you the quick rundown of the good stuff in this show. There was plenty of stuff I had on my mind. I'm probably gonna forget it all in this video, because that's just how life is. But I might as well try and tick off what I think are the good parts in this show. One is the animation. I freaking love this animation. The way it's like in this style animation, sort of like an old comic book. It definitely has that old comic book feel to it. Definitely reminds me of an early 2000s show. Like this is Ben 10 style animation we got here. So the animation is definitely very reminiscent of Ben 10 and early 2000 shows, which makes sense as Craig is an early 2000s guy. He has said he's adored comics from the past, and yeah, it definitely has a whole comic book feel to it, which I also want to go on to say that this was definitely a show made with passion. It's not the best show out there, but it was definitely made with passion. This was definitely made by a guy who truly loves comic book shows and comic book stories, because it has like the sort of same style that the old comic books like Tintin would have. I know my audience probably doesn't even know what Tintin is, but yeah. So it definitely does have that sort of feel to it. Old comic book style, definitely made by a guy who loves comic books. And from what I could tell, this guy actually had this story like on his shelf for a few years before he decided to make it, so that's crazy. I will say that this show is also retro in the sense that it's definitely made for an older audience like me. That's not saying like it's only made for kids, but it definitely is reminding me of my old days back when I was a little chick, and I used to watch those shows on Saturday morning. For example, Ben 10. This show is like a mixture of Ben 10 meets Captain Underpants meets Rick and Morty. That's what this show is to me. It's a mixture of like all those three things I've seen. And Ben 10, it definitely shares a lot of similarities. For example, this show literally has the premise of alien artifacts come from outer space. The alien crashes on Earth and is either dead or missing. A little boy finds the alien artifact. He gains superpowers from that artifact, and he shares this power with his friends and family, or at the very least uses these powers to become a hero, because secretly that's what he wanted to do all his life, to become a hero. And then at the end he faces off against a big bad evil alien, very reminiscent of Ben 10, but that's just surface level stuff. So yeah, again, I don't want to go too deep into the story, but I just want to say that this story really does know how to tell it well. Okay, I shouldn't say that because the story does kind of flip flop between how it wants to tell it, but the way the story tells it, beautiful. Because when you think the story is gonna go one direction, it goes another direction, and you're like, "What? I didn't expect the story to go that direction." Okay, now that it's going this direction, it will certainly go in this direction, right? Nope, they swerve again. The story swerves so much, and it does so in an organic way when you think the story is going to be plot A, it'll instead decide to be plot B halfway down the line. Then it'll be plot C and then plot D. Like it swerves so nicely. When you think the story is going to go in one direction, it swerves to the other direction. And I really like that. It subverts your expectations like that. This show definitely keeps you on your toe. It subverts your expectations, always has you thinking of what's going to happen next. And yeah, I definitely respect this show for that because it definitely does keep you thinking of what's gonna happen next or how they're gonna tell this story. I do wish they spent more time on the superheroine and the actioning, but that's just me. I understand this show was meant to not be superhero like or like be very actiony or things like that. It was definitely meant to take a more slice of life approach with the middle man just watching the action from the side. Definitely wish we could have seen more superheroes though. Just my opinion. What can I say about this show? Another thing I like to point out about this show is the anime. It's not the animation style, but more like the humor it has. This show definitely has a sense of dark humor where it doesn't not really tell adult jokes, but more or less tells jokes that I'm like, ooh, they got away with this. Like I can't believe how many times they said die in this show. Do you know how many kids shows wish they could say die without having to be flagged for being too adult? Man, this show was like really crazy with the words it used. Not that it said any bad words. It's just like I am surprised that this show had the balls to say things like die. And it's a kids show, which I really admire. I really respect this show for at least trying to be more mature, at least trying to be for all ages. Which makes sense as the entire team is made of all ages. We have Rosa, the 4 year old. We have Kid, the 10 year old. We have Papa G, the old man. We have Joe, the teenager. Joe, by the way, is like practically better than 90% of the teenagers that exist, even better than me. And I'm gonna say it now before anyone else does. Joe Mama! I'm half naked. What is wrong with me? So yeah, again, characters are all great. Everyone has their own personality. Even the freaking villain at the start, what's his face? Chuck. Chuck was like super evil at the start, and then he became a good guy later on. And again, it seemed like Chuck's race was gonna be the big dude at the end, the big bad villain to come at the end. But it turns out that ain't the case at all. In fact, if anything, Chuck's race is treated like any other race, or just like a regular band of villains who like your regular weak guys. They aren't even in the season finale. That's how crazy this show is. Again, the storytelling is phenomenal. It really does take you in a lot of directions and you don't know what's gonna happen next. I am back to the dark humor. I was saying that this show definitely doesn't hold back many punches, which makes sense as it's made by Netflix, so it's its own platform. Because I'm just imagining this show being made by Disney, it wouldn't be able to get away with half the stuff it did. So yeah, so I really love this show for that, and definitely I don't even think kids will be offended or will be like, "Mommy, why did this show say this?" I really don't think that's the case. So yeah, I really don't have a lot to say about Kid Cosmic. I probably had more to say about it in my mind, but like on my own, nah, it's a great show. I would say very excited for season 2. Very excited for what they're gonna do with it there. I really wish I'd seen this footage video before because what the hell is going on here? But yeah, I definitely wish I had seen. There's definitely a lot more potential for this show. One small complaint I do have on it though is that each episode is like 25 minutes long, and you might be wondering, oh, what's wrong with that? The problem I have with it is that since it's a kids show, 25 minutes is kind of way too much, and it shows as the episode kind of pads itself. Again, this show can make a full action scene out of one episode, but the padding is sometimes a bit too much. This show will just add in filler for no reason. I swear, there was like one episode where the cat is literally walking down a road for like 20 seconds. They were so desperate to fill up time that they actually just showed us a cat walking for 20 seconds with nothing else going on. It's a bit much. I do wish in the future they would cut down the episodic runtime, make it more like regular kids shows, 20 minutes, 22 minutes, instead of like the 25 minutes that are way too long. That's just my 2 cents on the matter. Again, this show is really good. Really love the colors. Really love the designs. Speaking of which, the designs are probably the strongest part of the show. Because every character was drawn so well. You can tell that each and every character was drawn with passion. All the designs look so unique. And their movements even. The way each character is animated and how they move resembles their character. Joe walks straight and crazy like because she's tall and lanky. Kid walks clumsily because he's a little kid. Nina walks a little stumpily because she's a little literal toddler. Papa G walks with a bit of pep in himself because he's a happy old man. I really love how the characters' designs fit their personalities, and you can just see the personality ranging from them. And again, these designs are so good. I literally had to pause the show as I was watching just so I could stare at them. Each of these designs is so unique and lovely to look at. Like, they're just so pleasant on the eyes. I just want to stare at it. Like, I just want to stare. I just want to buy a poster and just stare at the designs. I just want to stare at it for quite some time. I could even stare at it for a straight up hour. There are actual there are actual points in time when I paused the show just so I could just look at each and everyone's designs. They were so well done. The artists on this, great job. So that's kind of all I have to say about Kid Cosmic. I know this review is kind of clunky, not usually how I do my regular reviews. Very lazily put together. I hate myself. But yeah, end of the story, I just want to say Kid Cosmic is a great show. Definitely has potential to be better. I don't think this is its best, so I do think there is room for improvement. There is something holding it back from being an amazing show. Like, there is seriously something holding me back from giving this show like a good 9 or 10 out of 10. I don't know what it is. Really, the only real complaint I had was that it padded, and I don't padding the runtime. And I don't even think that's as big of a problem as it should be. So yeah, definitely there is something about this show that needs improving on if I feel like I can't give it that 9 or 10 out of 10. But anyways, it's a good show meant for all ages, literally meant for all ages. And it's one of those shows where I honestly think that it does fit the definition of animation isn't just for kids, because clearly, even though we're living in the new age with all this diversity and stuff, people actually still think animation is for kids. So anyways, go watch this show, guys. It's really good. Straight up 8.5 out of 10. Really well done. Really well executed. And I really don't know what I could say about it. Just go watch the show and you'll see how good it really is. I don't want to overpraise the show. Definitely, there have been people who've done that before. But I just feel like I want to give my 2 cents on the show and what I think it has going for it. And definitely how it could improve in the future, and how it really had a great start. Can't wait for season 2. Can't wait to see what more stuff they do and what random story points they're gonna use. Please do better. I mean, not do better, but please stay with us, Kid Cosmic. You are a sign. You're a good sign of what's to come in the following decade. You're a sign of what's to come for the new generation. You are this generation's Ben 10. You are gonna fit the Ben 10 role like how Ben 10 did for me. So do not let this generation down. Anyways, guys, I've been Captain Phoenix. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends. Tell them that my videos are way better than this usually is. And yeah, again, this show is good. Go watch it. And that's my recommendation of the week or the period. I really don't know how many times I review a movie or a series at a point. So, with that, I've been Captain Phoenix. Like, subscribe. Thank you so very much for watching. And with that, I will see you in another universe.